Italy's hardline approach to migration, spearheaded by Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's government, has once again faced scrutiny following the transportation of 49 migrants to Albania. This action represents the latest iteration of a legally contested plan to outsource asylum processing to Balkan countries, a policy widely condemned by critics as disgraceful. The Italian Navy ship Cassiopeia, having intercepted the migrants on Saturday in the Mediterranean Sea south of Lampedusa, arrived at Shëngjin port in Albania on Tuesday morning. These individuals, intercepted during a surge in boat arrivals, will undergo identification and health checks before being transferred to a detention center located approximately 12 miles away in Gjigjadir. This controversial move coincides with a significant rise in refugee. January's figures, according to the Italian Interior Ministry, reveal a staggering 3,312 arrivals, more than double the number recorded during the same month last year. The influx intensified over the weekend, with nearly half of the total arriving within those 2 days. Out of the 421 individuals screened by Italian patrols during this period, 49 were selected for transfer to Albania. The selection process and its criteria remain shrouded in a degree of ambiguity, sparking further concerns regarding the fairness and transparency of the policy. The majority of migrants arriving in Italy this month, according to reports from the Italian newspaper La Repubblica, originated from Libya, despite the existence of a bilateral agreement between Italy and Libya designed to curb such departures. This apparent ineffectiveness of the pact raises serious questions about its efficacy and the commitment of both parties to its objectives. The surge in arrivals over the recent weekend, La Repubblica suggests, may be linked to the controversial release and repatriation of Osama Najm to Tripoli. Najm, a Libyan general, faces accusations of war crimes, including the alleged abuse of migrants and refugees detained within Libyan facilities under the aforementioned. His return to Tripoli, despite an outstanding arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court, has drawn intense criticism, highlighting the ethical complexities and potential unintended consequences of Italy's migration policies. The Italian government's staunch defense of its approach hinges on its claim that it is necessary to control the influx of migrants and alleviate the strain on Italy's resources. However, critics argue that the plan violates international law, particularly the principle of non-refoulement, which prohibits the return of asylum seekers to countries where they face a risk of persecution or human rights abuses. They point to the well-documented human rights violations within Libya's detention centers as evidence supporting their claims. The legality and morality of the policy are further challenged by the lack of transparency surrounding the selection process for those transferred to Albania and the overall treatment of migrants throughout the process. International organizations and human rights groups have expressed deep concerns about the potential for violations of fundamental human rights under this plan, calling for a more humane and legally compliant approach to managing migration flows. The ongoing legal challenges and intense international criticism underscore the deep divisions surrounding Italy's handling of this critical issue. The long-term consequences of this controversial policy remain uncertain, but its immediate impact has undoubtedly exacerbated the already complex humanitarian and political landscape surrounding migration in the Mediterranean. The case raises critical questions about the balance between national security concerns and international obligations to protect human rights. The lack of accountability and the apparent disregard for international legal norms fuel ongoing debates about the ethical considerations and practical effectiveness of such a stringent approach.